For years, Silicon Valley had one massive advantage. If you were the best talent in the world, you had to go there. That's how companies like Apple, Google, and Meta built dominance. They didn't just build products, they concentrated the best people in one place. But that model is breaking. Right now, Silicon Valley is laying off tens of thousands of workers while struggling to fill critical roles. There's more talent than ever, but somehow less of the right talent. And here's where it gets interesting. At the exact same time, companies are quietly shifting where they hire from, and Latin America is becoming one of the biggest winners. Some are even calling it the new Silicon Valley. So in this video, I'm going to break down what actually went wrong in Silicon Valley hiring, why companies are changing how they think about talent, and how this shift creates a massive opportunity if you understand it early. Because by the end of this, you're going to see hiring differently, not as a local problem, but as a global advantage. On the surface, this doesn't make sense. How can Silicon Valley be laying off over 120,000 tech workers and still not have enough talent? The answer is simple. They don't have a people problem. They have a talent quality and distribution problem. During and after the pandemic, tech companies overhired. They expected growth that didn't come, so they scaled teams fast without tightening standards. Then AI showed up. And now companies don't just need engineers, they need better engineers, faster thinkers, more adaptable talent. And suddenly, headcount doesn't matter anymore. Output does. That's why you're seeing this paradox. More people available, but fewer people actually qualified for what companies now need. So if Silicon Valley still needs top talent, why are they not just hiring locally? Well, here's the thing, guys. For decades, Silicon Valley solved talent gaps the same way. Bring people in, the H-1B visa system became the pipeline. Top engineers from India, Europe, and around the world would move in the US to work. But now that system is breaking. Costs have exploded. Visas have become harder, slower, and more restrictive. At one point, costs jumped massively, making it far less practical for companies to rely on foreign talent pipelines. And when you combine that with layoffs and uncertainty, you get friction, a lot of it. So companies are asking a new question. What if we don't bring talent to us? What if we go to the talent? And that question changed everything. Because once companies stopped thinking locally, they started discovering something much, much bigger. And this is where things get really interesting. Because companies didn't just decide to hire globally, they were forced into it. And then they realized, holy crap, it's actually better. Latin America is becoming one of the biggest beneficiaries of this shift, not just because of cost. That's a lazy explanation. The real reason are time zone alignment, cultural compatibility, strong technical talent, and growth education pipeline. And the numbers back it up. There are already millions of developers across the regions, with hundreds of thousands entering the workforce every year. And at the same time, companies can reduce costs while significantly having access to high-level talent. And here's the key shift. This isn't outsourcing. This is strategic hiring. Companies aren't lowering standards. They're expanding their access. But here's where most founders mess this up, because hiring globally doesn't automatically mean hiring better. At this point, you understand the opportunity. Global talent is real. Latin America is rising. Remote hiring works. But here's the gap. Most founders don't know how to actually access good talent globally. They either hire too cheap, skip vetting, or rely on some resume and hope. And that's how you end up with more problems, not less. This is exactly why we built Remote Latinos. We have companies find, test, and place high-performing remote talent across Latin America, people who already operate with ownership, communication, execution. We've hired well over 3,000 people at this point for thousands of businesses. So this means instead of guessing, you get someone who can actually perform. And if you want help with that, go to remotelatinos.com or come and hire so we can show you exactly what it is that we can do for you. Now, let's discuss the biggest mistake that founders make when they hear all of this. They think advantage is geography. It's not. The advantage is access and process. Because talent is everywhere now, but A players are still rare. And if your hiring process is weak, it doesn't matter where you look. You'll still hire talkers instead of performers, cheap over effective, and available instead of capable. Silicon Valley didn't win because it was in California. It won because it built systems to attract and concentrate top talent. Now that geography is gone, that responsibility falls on you. So the real question becomes, how do you actually take advantage of this shift? Let me tell you guys, this shift changes the game completely. You no longer need a big office, a local talent pool, or even Silicon Valley budgets. What you need is better hiring systems. You need to define outcomes clearly, to test for real skill, filter for ownership, build structure after hiring, because the companies that win now won't be the ones with the most resources. They'll be the ones with the best access to talent and the best systems to deploy it. That's the real takeaway. Silicon Valley isn't dying, but its biggest advantage is no longer exclusive. And that creates an opening most founders still haven't realized. Look, if you want to understand how to actually build a hiring system that takes advantage of this shift, not just the theory, but the execution, make sure you're subscribed, because on this channel, I break down exactly how to find, test, and scale with high-performing talent in today's global market. And if you're serious about building a team and growing your business without doing everything yourself, head over to remotetinos.com, schedule a call with our team, let us find out a little bit more about what it is that you're doing, and we can present you candidates so you can hire within the next 1 or 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Us.